Heavy metal
My
rock.
global mind.
And today on My Global Mind, we're speaking with Wes Cage for the release of his new single, The Wolf, that was released Halloween's Eve. Wes, welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. I really appreciate it.
Honor. Thank you for having me.
I'm digging the new song. Congrats.
Thank you so very much.
Yeah, it's The Wolf, and it's a bit of departure from what we know you for with your black metal roots. What's the catalyst for the departure? Or was it really not a departure?
Well, I did an album in 2014 called Prehistoric Technology, where that was my first solo album. That was basically the first product of the Wes Cage project. And I started to move into this direction a little bit, but not as clean and crystal clear as The Wolf, but I experiment with some more palatable and accessible sounds for the masses. And from there, I think there was one ballad on the Prehistoric Technology record called Soulless Eyes that kind of has a similar vibe. And then sure enough, the universe blessed me with having the best manager on earth, Blasko, also a legendary musician, and he set me up with Keith Wallen to write this song, and it just this amazing track was born.
Yeah, it's a killer song. Based upon what I read of it, it's examining the lower and higher self. Is it a bit autobiographical?
I think so, yes. I have contended with some pretty intense periods of rebirth and ego death, I call it. Really, really painful depressions as well. So, this song is definitely autobiographical in that regard. And also, too, I wanted to let people know that we have a part of us that is extremely powerful. We are entities. We have a very godly force, all of us, where we could change the world and honestly heal people or better, make mankind better. But we also have a part of us that's very negative, and if we give into that dark, it's not really even darkness. It's just a very distorted self that could really take people down, and that's something we got to be careful of.
No, I agree. I think people are antennas. They're always receiving and giving out. And if you're a good person, a positive person, you're going to send out that positive vibe on that antenna, and it's going to come back to you. And I think that's really important. When did you become, I guess, spiritually thinking in that way? Have you always been that?
When I was 8, when I was a little boy, I would say things that were very spiritual, and sometimes it would make adults be like, "Whoa, what's this kid into?" And then I was able to kind of see people's auras, and I would talk about auras and stuff. But then when I turned 12, I kind of left that and returned to being spiritual when I was 15 onward. And I've been studying mysticism, working with shamans, like incredible shamans like Jay and Kestrel from Bridget Healing Center. And I've also been working with I've worked with a lot of people and just in the mental wellness domain.
I think that's important. I think it's good to have that wellness in your mind and that wellness, that spirituality. I think it's important, and I think more people should have that. Maybe the place of this world to be a little kinder, so to speak. Even
if they just had 10 minutes of meditation in schools, it would just change. Like a massive shift would happen.
Right. If everybody just said thank you, please, and excuse me, the world would be a better place too, right?
those are crucial
Those
crucial
are very
things.
good. I say that all the time when I'm waiting in line in Costco. I was like, what? Nobody could say please, excuse me, and thank you. You know, it's like it's impossible.
Very much.
You know, the sentiment in the song is very deep, as we talked a little bit about. Tell me about your artistic ethic, what drives these type of deep meaning songs.
Well, I always when I'm composing, like last night, I just finished 3 tracks. Um, Two of them were orchestral for a film, and then one was um, a track that's going to be with the Wes Cage project. Uh, I basically go off my intuition. Um, as soon as I feel an energy, it's interesting. It's interesting because a lot of times a melody will come to me along with a concept,
Mm.
like already like a scored scene in a movie. Then I start to kind of develop what the character of the song is and what it means to me, and then I just start going from usually chorus first, and then I'll like make the verses based after it, and then start trying to figure out pre-choruses and middle eights and stuff. It's but usually yeah, the intros or the chorus will come first to me. Of something really anthemic usually.
That's kind of a gift to be able to have that vision of the words, the concept, and then to send it out to people and convey it. It's actually very hard to do, and you do it extremely well. Tell me a little about that.
Thank you so much. I think I started very young when I was sitting at the piano. I started to learn how different cultures use different scales. And I would ask my mom or dad or anybody to name a country or a region. So somebody would be like Egypt. Then I'm starting to whip out something in double harmonic minor, playing some really powerful scale melody. And then someone would be like, okay, Russia or Germany. And I'd start getting D minor, some really intense, like kind of Beethoven or Tchaikovsky sounding thing. And I guess I've always been interested in finding the music that aligns with a concept or something in general. And I think that may just always being so creative. I think that really affected me as an adult.
I was when I first was asking the question, I was thinking too from your history with your father, movie sets, and actually seeing, the forest and the trees simultaneously, and understanding the plot and the themes. And so I was wondering if that's like a seed that's been planted in your mind from an early age, because a lot of people don't have that experience, that you bring to the table on that aspect.
Most definitely, it was most definitely a seed that was planted. Seeing so much artistry around me and
Right.
uh, such expressive relatives too that are such artists. It definitely evoked that in me.
Definitely ingrained, right? Tell me a little bit about, you touched upon it earlier. Tell me about your relationship with Breaking Benjamin guitarist Keith Wallen and writing this song. How did you come together, and how did the song come together?
Certainly. So Blasko, my manager, he basically set up a kind of like a campaign of writing sessions. Like it was I was meeting with people during certain parts of the day at a certain time, and we would connect on Zoom or any means to basically have a FaceTime kind of a session where we would start to write music remotely.
Mhm.
Uh, we would kind of start from scratch and come up with some ideas. And I did it with multiple musicians who are all profound and quintessential musicians. And then um, we would send what we did to Blasko so that he could use because his expertise is profound. He basically selected what he thought was the most poignant and the most I guess what would I say? I guess the most excellent of all the tracks. Like he really thought that the Wolf was the one to go with,
Yeah.
and I agreed. And Keith and I wound up doing that session. It was a very nice session. I mean, we talked a little bit first about where we live and stuff, and then I started to mention something about wolf symbolism. I guess I was studying a little bit about that and what that meant in shamanic regards, and then we started to form this song, and Keith was laying down some guitar and piano and stuff, and it just started to form from there. Um, I love that it kind of the chorus does have a little bit of a Nordic Celtic melody sound to it. Um, if it were to be played on, especially on like a bagpipes, or if it were to be played on like a Norse string instrument, it would really show itself.
Now the video is awesome too. You know, there was a really well done video, real top notch, you know?
Thank you so very much.
Yeah. Now you talked a little bit about having some songs written and maybe sending them off for the Blasko for reviewing. You know, the press release doesn't say anything about an album. Will you be putting out an album? What's the future hold for this project that you're working on?
I really do want to put out an album. I have a couple songs that are very unique, but they go with the wolf quite well. There's also a couple songs from the Prehistoric Technology album that I want to revamp. But I would say I have about 6 tracks that I definitely want to put in an album, and then I want to do a couple more. And I just miss, I miss playing live, and I want to make sure that the live experience for people is, I want to make sure that it's diverse so that we can have some heavy tracks that get people feeling like their soul is literally being impacted with the music, and then also have tracks that are crystal clear and smooth like the wolf.
I've never seen you perform live, but you have in that presence in the video, you have a great theatrical feel and look to it and yourself. Will you be bringing those elements into a live environment?
Definitely. I'm
Yeah.
going to make sure highly theatrical. I want people to feel like they're watching a play or something, like a massive play. I did one. I mean, I did I think about 4 shows with as Wes Cage, and then one of those shows was with Brandon Soller on drums from Atreyu, and we won the best new artist award in 2014 at a magazine award show slash like a music show called Vegas Rocks, and that was really humbling to like to know that there's a song called Where I'm From on the Prehistoric Technology album. That song, it affected people, especially since the bands that were playing before us were these awesome like kind of 80s sounding metal bands. These guys were amazing, and then people were people were in that mood, and then out of nowhere they get hit with this kind of dark operatic energy that I'm throwing at them. They're like, whoa, this is from another dimension.
Yeah.
And
It sounds cool. Like the higher self in the video could be almost like a themed character. Like for example, like Alice Cooper. You know, Alice Cooper, the guy on stage is very different than the Alice Cooper, when you see on the golf course. So that you rock that really well.
so much.
Yeah, that'd be fun to see. You mentioned that you're collaborating also with other musicians, talented musicians. Can you name any of them at this point?
Um, I have a friend named Alexei Yagikian. He is an awesome musician that is of Armenian descent that plays. He's also a multi-instrumentalist. I'm talking with him about potentially doing a track. There's also an awesome artist in the UK named Kid Bookie, who I'm thinking about doing some stuff with. Aside from that, there hasn't been any writing sessions with anyone yet, but I'm generating usually 10 tracks a month so that we can collection to go through, and I'll definitely want Blasko to use his precision and everything to select the best ones.
Do you get to meet Ozzy Osbourne and hang out with Ozzy Osbourne through Blasko?
When I was little, I saw him. I met him. He was amazing. He basically gave me a cool like gothic crucifix, and then the Bark at the Moon like werewolf doll.
Yeah.
I don't know how he did this, but then all my friends, we went to this arcade, and he had kind of like prepaid all the games, so it was unlimited, and we like had this amazing time there. And I never saw him again after that, but I definitely want to see him now that I work here with Blasko. It'd be cool.
Yeah, it's definitely worth the trip, right? Over to Ozzy's house. How about your dad? You wrote a song a while ago with your father, Nicolas Cage. Is he going to be joining you on any collaborations for the new album? Are you thinking of that?
I do want to do a track with my father where we talked about it once um, in like 2015 or 14 about us doing a track where we do spoken word.
Yeah.
Uh, if because he's an amazing poet, he's a great director, great writer as well as an actor. So uh, I do want to have him speaking his poetry, and then I play some kind of intense piano track in the background and see how that would turn out. Maybe something like the Doors did.
Yes. All right. That's a great idea. Great example. That sounds like fun. Tell me what's it like to start over because you had a pretty successful career with black metal and you're basically starting over and reinventing yourself. Tell me a little about that approach to doing it. It's not an easy task to reinvent yourself.
Definitely, it was pretty difficult to do. I think that I always had a part of me where I wanted to explore more of the kind of because there's a lot of new age elements that I put in some of the Wes Cage stuff in prehistoric technology. The prehistoric technology album really shows that there's always was another sound that I wanted to explore, even though black metal helped me find my identity. And there's an article out that says, Weston Cage abandons black metal. It's like, what do you think I listen to at night?
Multifaceted.
Yeah, but I reinvented myself. I wanted to, one of my favorite bands of all time is System of a Down and Korn, and then those projects are, I also wanted to express myself with that style as well. Um, and then I think when I was about 20, I think when I turned about 21 is when I was ready to shift. I kind of started shifting over to this style, and it was very difficult because you know people when I when people heard that Eyes of Noctum had disbanded and that I was doing other stuff, I mean, some people were very like offended almost that I,
Yeah, yeah.
but um, but yeah, I think that it was a very slow transition. It was a very slow process to get to where I am now. 2014 is about when I really captured like who I am and you know started making this kind of music, but took a minute.
Yeah, I think that shows growth. I mean, you can't be stuck in one genre. It's always good to expand. And some of the best musicians, David Bowie, he's all over the spectrum. Queen, all over the spectrum. So I think it's important to do that. I want to be respectful to your time. My last question: tell me the exact moment when you wanted to be a musician, and when did you know you could do it? Singing is not easy. I asked that, because I asked that way.
Absolutely. When I was, I would say 4.5, 5, even 6, there was always a drum set, guitar, and piano in the house, and my mother would play a lot of Enya, um, and I started to play on the piano myself, um, and guitar, and people were loving what I was doing, and it made me want to become a musician right then and there when I saw that I could convey something to someone sonically on such a high level because I believe art is the highest form of communication, and just in 30 seconds art can say what 1,000 words can say. And when I noticed that and saw Gypsy Kings live, I was like, all right, that's it. I want to do it. I want to be this way. And then when I was like, I think preteen, I heard System of a Down's record Toxicity, and that's when I was just like, all right, I'm going straight to figuring things out. And then then black metal captured me first, and I went that route, which I'm glad I did because it's added so much to my work ethic. And then also with my acting, because I've gone through the Black Sun, the Black Flame of black metal. It's allowed me to play much more complex and dark villains when I need to.
Great. That's great. Well, listen, I thank you so much for a fascinating interview, and I wish you the best with the single, and I hope I could talk with you again when if the final album does come out. It'd be really interesting to hear, and it'd be great to hear how it was all put together.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Wes. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Heavy metal rock.
Global Mind.